Chapter 43, Alexa Brenner. Whoa, hello. I see you're both doing well, but you both need to get dressed and I'll see you in the living room. We need to go to town square. Leah stands in the doorway with a smirk on her face. My head hurts from waking up. She walks away. My head hits the pillow. I try moving, but there's an arm around my waist. I jump out of bed, though not too gracefully. I can assume we did more than just cuddling last night by feeling in lacking of clothes. I try to remember what happened in the missing gaps of time in my memory while I find undergarments, yoga pants, and a halter top in the drawers. While I'm putting my clothes on, Daniel starts to get out of bed. Still pulling down my shirt, I almost run from the room and disappear from his view into the bathroom. The first thing I do is turn the taps on full blast. Grabbing the toothbrush, I run it underwater, put toothpaste on it, and stick it in my mouth. Scrubbing and scrubbing the nasty carpet feeling from every surface in my mouth. I spit the foam from my mouth. I then repeat the process another 2 times before I'm satisfied. My headache blares. Looking in the medicine cabinet, I find Tylenol. Taking 4 pills from the bottle, I throw them into my mouth. Cupping my hands quickly, I gather enough water in them to wash down the pills. Swallowing takes a bit of effort, but I accomplish it with only a bad taste in my mouth. There's a face cloth next to the sink. I wash any skin showing from my clothes. Pulling out my ponytail, I brush my hair next while I let the skin air dry. My hair is slippery with the oil in it, so I pull it back into a ponytail. In the same drawer is makeup. Excitement fills me. There's everything I could ever need in here. It takes a few minutes of careful and practiced movements before I put the finishing touches on my face. Beautiful. Finishing up in the bathroom, I take one more final look in the mirror. Leaving the room, I meet Leah and Daniel in the living room. Daniel looks upset. He turns to me. Pulling me in for a hug, he says, Amy's dead. Demons killed her last night. They're calling a town meeting. Everyone has to be there. We have to leave now if you don't want to be late. Someone took a little too long getting ready in the bathroom. Leah deserts us to go to the front door. I break our hug and dash away after her. Slipping on my shoes is easy enough. I catch up to her quickly. Daniel rushes to catch up with us. He almost misses the elevator. The outside is a terrifying clash against the day before. Posters with sayings or pictures on them. There's one of a boot about to squash a human. On a white wall, someone wrote in red, "Learn your place." Others have "missing" or "dead" written on them with pictures of people. I take a double look at something on the power lines. I don't believe my eyes at first. An arm is hanging on there like a pair of shoes would. Leah takes us to the city hall. A bit of a stage has been set up for the leaders to stand on. They are already there, and Owen is trying to tame the crowd. We get settled in standing behind everyone. We have just enough of a view above everyone's heads to see the upper portions of the 2 leaders' bodies. The human leader is trying to get the crowd to calm down, but it isn't working. You can tell he's trying to yell as loud as he can, but one voice isn't enough to overpower the crowing crowd. I can't hear a word he is saying. Chris stands there, saying nothing, but looks disgusted at Owen's attempts. Lady runs out and hands Chris a megaphone to amplify his voice. There's a screech as he turns it on and gets feedback. Once under the control, he says one word that creeps a shiver up my spine and hushes the crowd. Silence! He hands the megaphone over to Owen, who continues with what he went there to say. A tragedy happened last night. A young girl was murdered most horribly, and whoever committed this crime has no respect for her body and placed parts of her all over the city. Allegedly, this looks to be a demon or a group of demons who no longer believe in our ways. They have decided that they no longer want to live together in peace with humans. We will not tolerate that here. The people who did this will be caught, and justice will be served. The racist words and pictures will be removed from every service. Anyone supporting any rebellion will be caught and persecuted for any crimes they have committed. If they have not committed any crimes, they will be asked to leave. Owen hands the megaphone back to Chris. Things will temporarily change around here until such a time that the criminals are caught. You'll be seeing more police patrolling the streets. We expect full cooperation will be given to any police officer who stops you. There's now a stricter curfew for everyone. On days of work, you must be at the job by 8 and you must leave by 5. The first time you go back to work, you will be given a pass stating you are working at a particular job. If you work temp jobs, you will be given a permanent job. If you're not at work, you should be in your homes. If you need to leave your house for whatever reason, you need to come to City Hall, report the reason. You need to come to City Hall and report the reason. You will receive a pass, good for an amount of time, with a condition to sign in at the particular place. The market will now be moved to the gymnasium at the high school. These restrictions and tracking is being put in place to ensure your safety and will only be temporary. Please bear with it. Now, off to your permanent jobs. Everyone without a placement needs to stay behind and you will be assigned one. He steps off the stage and goes inside the building behind him. Owen stays behind. He gets off the stage and helps some others place papers on the stage. Many people leave. The crowd clears out enough that I can see Miles and James in the lineup. I ask them, "Did you see Amy last night before?" "No, we didn't. Why?" Miles says in a whisper. "She left with Owen to find out where James was and to go see him," I respond. James shakes his head. "So Amy didn't even make it to see them. Whatever happened must have been done soon after she left." "Don't you think that we should be focused on our job placement right now? We'll see each other later." James turns around and ignores us. By now I've gotten used to his sudden change of subject, his way of saying that we shouldn't be talking about the subject any longer. Act a certain way. Most have left the area now. There's a lineup with the rest of everyone lining up for their jobs. The lineup goes quickly until there are only 10 people left, including Miles, Daniel, Leah, and I. James is the last one to get a placement off to the fields for harvesting. Owen looks at us. "I'm very sorry to do this. You are on cleanup duty, painting over the graffiti, picking up debris here in the square. If you find a body part, call over an officer and they will remove it for you. Again, I'm very sorry, but it needs to be done and there's nothing else left. The paint supplies, and garbage bags are just inside the doors. Here are your passes." He hands the passes to Miles, turns around, and leaves. Miles hands the passes out to each person. We each take a bit of the supply and start with City Hall area. Each can of paint is pure white and looks out of place on the building, but it is still better than the previous sayings and pictures. No one talks. The larger cleaning group splits in half painting and the other half picking up garbage. A couple of times, officers get pulled over with a yell of, "I found something." One male was ever so kind to say, "I found an ear," loud enough for all to hear him. I don't dare to look while they take each part away. Concentrating on painting over everything makes the time go faster and keeps my thoughts from turning into who might be next to find a body part and hoping that it won't be me. Goosebumps rise on my skin from the cool air and a slight layer of sweat covers me. My fingers are cold and prickle where I grasp the paintbrush, but I don't dare to stop. The three officers left in the area are a little unsettling. Leah finds another body part, and one more officer leaves with it. Hours pass of the same things. One more part is found, and we are only left with one officer now. The sun is high in the sky. The air is significantly warmer than in the morning. The area is cleaner now. It looks a lot better. White spots of wet paint are everywhere. Windows are covered in cardboard from where they had been broken. There's no more glass on the grounds, and no more posters. I set about to cover the paint cans when we hear some shouting. The officer goes to look at the commotion, but turns and runs into City Hall. The shouts get louder and closer. "Please don't do this. I'm innocent. I didn't do anything. Please." The shouts of this sort continue on. It sounds like a man begging for his life. I turn the corner. There are a few people that have someone surrounded. He's tied to a lamppost with a bunch of people holding him to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. Someone throws a bucket of clear liquid on the frightened male. He struggles more now. Someone throws a towel over his head, while some more people restrain him even more. A woman rubs the towel against the skin of his face and pulls the towel away. Immediately he is doused with more water. Steam rises from his skin. Red boils grow on his cheeks. The crowd goes wild. Throwing more water on him, someone beats him with a bat. Another grabs something silver. It looks like a pipe, and each takes their own turn. They stop throwing water, and a few seconds later his cheek catches on fire. It spreads quickly. Everyone lets go of the male. The male's entire body is on fire. A mangled wail comes out of his throat for only a second. His body slumps and falls to the ground after the rope burns. All his flesh is gone. The fire turns his bones to ashes. There's nothing left in minutes. I barely register Leah grabbing my shoulder. "We're leaving." Miles and Leah run slowly enough for Daniel and me to sprint after her. The speed is exhausting, but it doesn't last too long. I hear our names being called. Looking slightly to the right, James is hanging out of the driver's door of a large moving truck. The back door is open, so we all run into the back. Daniel closes the door while James puts the vehicle in gear. Hold on, James warns a second before he slams on the accelerator. Fortunately, I had the second to grab the side railing and brace myself. Some boxes fall off a stack in the corner. One box collides with Leah's leg. The whole room echoes in a thundering crackle from just the movement of the truck. It gets louder if we go over any size of any bump. Daniel goes up to the cabs to sit next to James. I sit on the ground to catch my bearings and settle down for the trip to the other side of the mountain. My breath and heart eventually calm down. James finally slows the truck down and the clinking metal sound stops. Leah pulls open the back door. Miles leaps out of the back and goes around the corner out of sight. We're stopped on a highway with a 4x4 truck. Perhaps we could have gotten close to the mountain entrance. However, the moving truck would never make it that far. I step down from the truck bed, turning around. I look at the mountain. Having no idea where the house would be doesn't help me much in figuring out how much of a hike we have to do to get there and back today. Dread prickles through me as I think about how much stuff we'll need to be dragged down the mountain. Possibly more than one trip will need to be made. I turn back around to face Leah in the back of the truck. She has gone to the cab and is talking with Daniel and James. Something moves in from the corner of my eye. A body collides into my side. Without meaning to, I simultaneously jump and scream. A mess of red hair floats into my vision. I feel foolish for my reaction. Raylene and just about everyone else laugh at it. Seemingly out of nowhere, about 100 dwarves come carrying crates large and small. I get out of the way, still attached to Raylene, and let them load everything into the truck. Raylene lets go of my waist. Seeing as neither of us will be much of use, I lead us around to the passenger side of the cab. I wonder if Agate made this happen, or if James did. Someone notified the dwarves that we would be here. Daniel opens up the door and lets himself out. He leans towards me for a kiss, but I hesitate. I don't know what last night was, whether it meant nothing at all, or if it was drunken booty call, or if it was the start of something more. I do know one thing. I miss that feeling that someone loves me. He goes to the rest of the way in and kisses me with just a peck of his lips. Looking away from Daniel, I see Raylene smiling back at me. Up you go, darling. We'll be leaving as soon as we're all packed up. He picks Raylene up and places her on the seat. She crawls closer to James. He holds open his hand to help me in as well. I shake my head and climb in. Loosening the middle belt, I can buckle up both Raylene and myself. Daniel slides in beside us. Daniel slides in beside us and shuts the door. Leah now sits on a crate. The dwarves are quickly packing up. They are leaving space at the top, where some have already started to sit or lay down. Every bit of space is being used by the time the large door is shut. Either the space is filled with a person or a crate. Everything back there is tightly crammed. Looking around James to the outside, many dwarves are going back up the mountain. They also have a few crates they are hauling back with them. The plan had to have been more than just one truck, so they probably had brought enough stuff and people to completely fill 4 larger trucks. Instead, they had probably stuffed half of everything in one moving truck. James warns everyone before stepping on the gas this time. Everyone stable? Watch out for falling crates. The truck slowly and steadily climbs in speed. Most of this highway is straight with a small curve every once in a while. The mountains slowly disappear behind us, but there are trees for miles around. I don't think I've ever traveled such a distance before seeing at least some sign of a city. There are only trees, fields, and lakes as far as my eyes can see in all the kilometers we travel. Looking out the window, I am mesmerized by everything going past me, wondering where it ends. It takes a while, but I finally see signs of civilization. A green sign on the side of the road states Edson 10 kilometers. Searching in the distance for the city keeps me busy for the next couple of minutes to pass. At the speed we're going, 10 kilometers doesn't take long. It is finally within the last kilometer that I finally see some of the city. James slows down once we get into the city. I look out for all the signs that the city is anything like ours, or the one that we had just come from this morning. No people looking out the windows, no signs of destruction, no signs of life. Vehicles, mainly trucks, are parked everywhere, but none are moving. Some do seem out of place and abandoned, but other than that, there are no disturbances.